Welcome back to an irregularly timed Culture Crusade, not at the regular day that we usually do it on because of double bookings and other streams that I've been doing lately. I would have tried to have pushed it a day earlier because of the double booking, but I'm doing a stream the day earlier aroundish the same time with Gary, which is our live stream reviews of Night of the Seven Kingdoms. But we could do that next week because we're doing the live stream review at a different time because of the Super Bowl, and we're doing it right after FNT next week. So because the double booking that happened this week that caused me to reshift the Culture Crusade is happening next week as well. And if you want to know the background of what's going on, I've started a new channel, and I know it's not going to be for everyone. This is like a personal outlet for me. But holy crap, it's hit the ground running. I didn't expect the enthusiasm to be so strong for this. So I started a Latter-day Saint doctrine, religious-based theme channel where I just talk about my religion and faith. It's called The Latter-day Knight. And it's something I've wanted to do for years. I've only got the prompting recently to just I'm going to go and do it. I'm going to do it. And holy crap, it's started pretty darn good. Like more than I was expecting. I was thinking, 100 views, 200 views in the first few days would be a good start for a new channel. The videos are up to 5,000 views. And I'm like, what the heck? What's going on? But I'll take it. But in relation to that, being being more active about my faith and religion and stuff like that, is I've been joining other LDS channels, and a popular one is called Ward Radio, and I love the guys there. And I was doing a live stream with them yesterday during the time of the Culture Crusade, and I've scheduled to do one again next week. So it's just like scheduling conflicts and stuff. But I'm thinking that the Culture Crusade, if possible, I'll talk with the guys, we'll try and push it a day earlier, because there's a problem with live streaming right now. And it's like Tuesday night's main event is streaming right now over on Geeks and Gamers. And I love those guys. I usually like to watch Tuesday night's main event. And so I don't expect to get even half the viewers, watchers on this live stream, but it's going to be a fun, casual one, talking about the craziness of this last weeks, and topics that I haven't got into. But for all of that, that's the preamble. John, how are you going, mate? You have some big news.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of big news if you are a reader of mine, especially just last night after a rigorous 4-hour session while I was overnight at my night job. I finally hit the last words on The Lionheart, which is my second Age of Adventures book. Wow. It feels so good because this one was inexcusably extended out. I had a lot of real life stuff, a lot of work, a lot of life that got in the way. Even not having my channel anymore kind of didn't help. But I buckled down in November and got it done. And even though it's about half the size of my last book, about 103,000 words at the moment, it took almost as long to write just because I kept getting hit with stumbles. I don't care about that inside baseball stuff, but it's finally done. I'm going to be going through edits like crazy. And I'm shooting for, I'm going to shoot over my editor so he can get that done as quick as possible. And I am shooting for an early April release, because that's when the final season of The Boys drops. I want to market this book, which is the concept of it is a caped superhero and an epic fantasy story. And I want to market that. This is an altruistic superhero, someone with values, not a deconstruction. It is a father and son story as well.
I love it.
I want this to be the antidote for The Boys, which I cannot stand. And I know there's going to be a lot of people complaining online. They're tired of The Boys. They want it to be over, and I've got the solution. Look for a cover reveal before too long, guys. I just got to get this thing shot over my editor so I can do all that other gunk on my end, get a bunch of infrastructure stuff done. I've talked about this before, and I've made excuses. No more excuses. We're almost there, and I appreciate anyone dropping the cover. Michael Caine, who is partially responsible for the topic we're going to talk about tonight, guys. He's an indie sci-fi author. This is his book, his sci-fi series, After Moses. Good Christian fiction by the indie authors. The indie authors are providing what you are looking for.
Genuinely, when you said that, it's got actual heroism in it. It's not this,
Yes.
nihilistic slop that we have been getting flooded with. Like it's been going on, feels like, for nearly 10 years, where real heroism is, happens here and there in modern media, but for the most part is completely rejected, largely because of what started with the feminist narrative that traditional masculinity, which is what traditional heroism is so founded on, is toxic. And then the woke ideological movement took and ran with that, attacking, if you're a straight white man, how dare anyone, celebrate straight white men or anything like that, attacking traditional heroes, saying, why is Batman problematic for being rich and all that nonsense? And the deconstruction of the hero and traditional, heroism storytelling is sickening. Have you seen like Critical Drinker's timely video on that where he
the fantasy one? Oh my God, that was like inject that directly into my veins, man.
Mwah.
Beautiful. One of his best videos ever. Right up there with the I think when he was complaining about the He-Man thing, he did a why we need heroes kind of a thing towards the end of that video, and that was just as great as your He-Man video. And that's what I'm doing. I'm reconstructing heroism, what we've got here. This is going to be a great book. It's not going to even be a long read. It's I don't know how long it'll be at the end, but it's not going to be a 600-page chunker, I promise. This will be a very digestible, quick-paced action adventure, father and son story of true, genuine heroism and versus unrepentant evil. The power of friendship triumphing over evil with thanks to the power of friendship and overwhelming violence. I think I used up all the ways possible to describe somebody punching a dragon.
Love it. Hey, LitDev, welcome, man. Hello. We are talking about the nihilistic state of media at the moment and the rejection that we're having with the traditional hero, and how John has just recently finished the first draft of his novel and is embracing traditional superhero, sounds like tropes, father-son story, and how it's needed in the modern day. We've been talking a bit about Critical Drinkers video about why we need heroes in response to Night of the Seven Kingdoms. LitDev, going to talk with you about that towards the end. Oh, yeah.
I'm ready.
People are hungry for it. Sorry?
There's an episode of TNG where Picard goes to his brother's vineyard. I like to use it as an example of this type of phenomenon I'm talking about. So the mainstay of TNG is Picard, captain, crew. They go off on these weird shenanigans and adventures. But after Picard is taken by the Borg and becomes Locutus of Borg, he goes to his brother's vineyard to hang out and cool down, decompress. He went to this traumatic event, and he goes to his brother's vineyard. Probably wrong brother to go to because his brother's a jerk. But the thing is, the whole show is people like it, and it has family drama, is an internal conflict. It's very interesting. You get to see an expansion of Picard's family, and people tend to like it. Now, the thing is, we do not want the show to become this. Right? We don't want TNG to become just Picard on the farm. But it is good nonetheless, and people who would like TNG tend to like this episode. Now, I kind of compare that to our dalliance with cynicism, and that how we kind of dance around with cynicism and deconstruction of the hero. Are these stories? Is there room for these stories? Yes, absolutely. There's room for these stories. It's very interesting to go and see what if the hero didn't win? What if the hero was morally gray or something like that? However, we do our natural instincts as people. We do not want to stay here. We do not want the mainstream, the mainstay of all of our heroes and all of our movies and all the Kingsmen to be morally gray, dark, dour, and just completely cynical. We do not want that. The mainstream can try to bring us away from that. They tried so hard, no, this is bad, this is terrible. Because I've seen some people do that, where it's not just about exploring some other alternatives and in terms of heroes and where you want to go. It's no, it has to be this way. This is the proper way that we should be displaying heroes and everything. And it's very, very spiteful. But at the end of the day, what really happened is we had our interest, our temporary interest in dark fantasy, cynicism. Heroes lose, good guys lose, bad guys win by being evil. But after a while, we want to come back to normal. All right, we don't want to stay on the vineyard. We want to come back to normal with valiant heroes, and that's why there is a trope about this. A trope called, I think it was used to be called something like darkness fatigue or something, but now it's called too dark didn't care. It actually is a trope. You can look it up. But it's what happens when your story gets too dark, it's too bleak, too cynical, that the audience reading it stops caring because we cannot handle that. It becomes boring. It's like you give up. Like, okay, well, nothing good is happening. No one is accomplishing anything. So I'm just going to stop reading this. But the thing is, we want to come back to heroes, traditional good, fighting traditional evil, black and white morality, Tolkien-esque stuff. So in short,
yes,
you tried to go so far away into cynicism, and where did it lead you? Back to Tolkien.
Exactly.
Back to heroes.
I think it is not wholly responsible, but it has absolutely contributed to the horrible state that the world is in. Like young people, especially young men, need heroes, need their icons to aspire towards to be better. And we pass on what the, universal moral principles that the Western world has been built on and flourished on through our stories. And it really stands out when you watch, Star Trek, and I've mentioned I've been rewatching Stargate SG-1, and it's so good. And one of the things that really stands out with SG-1 is that SG-1 and General Hammond, the leaders of the Stargate program, they follow a higher morality, the highest human morality that you can think of, respecting, the rights of intelligent life and trying to do things the moral way. And they're constantly getting imposed by other governmental forces, which are trying to do things in a moral way because it'll be more expedient to help out the human race, like stealing other races' technologies and stuff. And there are great episodes when other factions do this and the SG team go and return the stolen property and appeal to this higher morality is constantly guiding them, right? And much of these higher moral systems that they're portraying in the show would now be problematic, right? And you see that, like, the morals of Lord of the Rings, right? Classic Lord of the Rings are being rejected in the modern day because people are identifying with the alien bugs invading the human race and the orcs. They're the actual heroes of the story.
Well, the good news is I don't think they're being rejected. Is that the people in charge are rejecting them. It's kind of like it's kind of the weird. It's like kind of the same thing I see between the feminists and men, where where men will tell you what women they find attractive, and then feminists will show you what they want, what they demand men to find attractive. It's kind of that kind of difference. The audience at large wants good heroes, honorable characters, and happy endings. The creators now in charge of these things are demanding that you like cynicism and dark crapsack worlds.
and instead of heroes going on journeys to earn heroes and stuff like that, they inject oftentimes a female character who is perfect from the get-go and expect the audience to see them as a hero when they act like villains, like absolute jerks. She-Hulk, perfect example, where she's talking with Bruce Banner, who he tried to commit suicide. He's gone through hell, and she has the goal to say, I endure, she has to deal with her anger infinitely more than her hardships for men not treating her right from her perspective, right? It causes more hardship in her life than this guy that has gone through hell. Right?
Try to commit suicide on stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. The entitlement of these characters that they write, because they're projecting themselves onto these characters, is astronomical. And they demand that you like them and accept them as being perfect in all their horrible character traits and flaws through this awful entitlement thing. And the tropes have been flipped on its head. And you can see it through Captain Marvel. Again, She-Hulk is one example. Galadriel from Rings of Power. Holy crap.
With She-Hulk, what's interesting about that one is that her rant could have been sympathetic. Her rant could have been valuable and full of substance. However, why it came off as cringe is because we saw her existence and her what her actual interaction is on a daily basis. And it was just like minor grievances that weren't even grievances. It was like, oh yeah, that guy tells me how I do my job. And the things that she tells Bruce during that rant is like all hypotheticals. Like, I have to control my rage because this guy could kill me, or this guy will probably beat me up. or this guy tried to like it's all these hypotheticals. Like we didn't see her go through these things. I don't know if we saw her before that rant and she was like going on a date and decided to she didn't like this guy, didn't call him back, and he's outside her house, you know, like, why'd you coming back, and trying to assault her and everything. If she actually went through a lot of these traumatic events and then had this rant and exploded, we can sympathize with why she's exploding on Bruce, and like we know where she's been and what she's gone through, and we can sympathize. But she hasn't gone through any of that. All she's gone through is some guys at the job try to give her advice.
Oh my gosh. And so much of the flaws, it seems like in modern writing, is injecting a more feminine kind of lens. When I say it isn't universally, but it's found more often, I find, from the feminine psyche, where women approach things where they have far more emotional connection with validating who they are. And my interaction, and my wife is the one who actually told me this, right? This is coming from her, that women are more insecure than men. And I think, like, in appearance, physically, that makes sense. More value is put on female appearance than male appearance, but it doesn't mean that there aren't expectations on men. More value is placed usually on men's ability to be, you know, carers and providers and their resources, and so value is put on that. And because women are usually more insecure about their appearance, their desire is to be validated in who they are right now. Because it's sometimes look, you can do a lot. Women can actually do a lot to improve their appearance. Makeup is just like, you know, illusion at this point, how what makeup can do with women's appearances, right? But ultimately they want to be validated and loved for who they are, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But then it's the forcing that you are a sexist bigot if you do not say I am beautiful at any size at all or any appearance, and I'll even shave my head and everything. You don't clap and say I'm beautiful. You're a sexist, you know, bigot. The male perspective when it comes to their power fantasies and stuff isn't about validation. Oftentimes it's about changing and becoming stronger and better, right? Where when men see Goku, they don't think insecure that they'll never be like that. They think, damn, I got to go work out.
Yeah, go to the gym.
Got to go to the gym.
You know, Shad, I, if you want to watch it, there's a little 1:40 video that I dropped in the private chat that goes a long way to kind of describing a differences between men and women kind of thing. I don't know if you've ever seen this before. It's called It's Not About the Nail. And it's taught me a lot when I first saw it.
Okay. Because these differences are significant, and they play into fundamental storytelling in a big way. And before we will watch it, right? Like, in female storytelling, it works a lot. Where a lot of female storytelling, look at Pride and Prejudice and everything like that. Pride and Prejudice is actually a great example. The arc that Mr. Darcy goes through is discovering Elizabeth's virtue and goodness that she always possessed. And so she doesn't have to look, she does go through, you know, she has to see his qualities as well, because she is prejudiced against him and is prideful. And look, it's actually it's a phenomenally written story, Pride and Prejudice. And it is about, you know, miscommunication and ultimately seeing the goodness in each other. But it is a very female coded story. Obviously, this is written for women, right? Is that Lizzie is very near, you know, ideal, perfect at the beginning. She has to go overcome some, you know, challenges, but the main arc is Mr. Darcy seeing the value in her and realizing the value in her. That is very common in female coded storytelling. A lot of romance is the guy that might not be really interested in her seeing the inherent value. Like even Twilight with Bella, right? She has like a magical power inside her that is just inherent. And it actually becomes one of the most crucial powers that they need to overcome the Volturi at the end. And it's just inherent in her. And I actually think that is tied to some fundamental, even biology, where there is an inherent kind of magic that women have in being able to create life in childbearing and everything like that. And women have been valued in society because of that. And it's an inherent thing that all women possess. where you flip it onto the other gender, where men often have to prove their value and earn it. And so in male storytelling, especially heroic storytelling, the arc of the man and the hero is oftentimes an arc of gaining power and growing in it. And there's a very important distinction. Hero's journey, exactly. A very important distinction between female coded storytelling versus male coded storytelling. And they're not inherently wrong. They actually speak to some deeper truths. What goes wrong is when you impose or force one onto the other. Now, men have often liked to write sexy female character heroes that go through very similar arcs because it's catered to men. And so you can write female characters that go through male coded storytelling, oftentimes because you'd be targeting a male audience. What has been happening in the modern day is that they have been forcing in female coded kind of tropes and storytelling into male stories, heroes, right? Where they either force the men to act like women or to go through women's stories, or force the women to be the heroes. And it breaks the storytelling of the traditional hero completely, because so much of the traditional hero is founded on what male storytelling is.
Yeah, because I found out the little comparison here is that the women tend to like, as I said before, but women tend to like emotional and social conflict, where men like for physical conflict, which is growth and stuff like that. And so this is why these stories meant for different genders are a little bit different, or they're very different. And so, for example, I noticed this with Ray specifically. I guess the first time I really noticed this is because Ray would be a good character in a romance. That she is a character made for women, because she begins everything. Because in a romance, a woman starts play with like everything she needs to attract the guy. Like you mentioned Twilight. Mostly women like Twilight. I'm pretty sure it's mostly women. Like that was made for women. Bella, what's her name? Bella Swan. She is like, she's supposed to be average, right? This average girl, nothing special about her, but vampires fall in love with her and werewolves fall in love with her. Right?
And in addition, yeah, she's so average, but in actual fact, she is the most special woman in the world in reality. And that's kind of the coding of female storytelling, where they want to be validated in who they are. And most women obviously are average people, but they want to feel like there is something special about them. And when a hunky man sees that specialness, that's their dream come true.
Yeah, but I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying there's a difference here. And that's kind of why men don't really react to, like Ray, for example, the same way they would react to like a female character that had to go through this hardship and overcome these obstacles. A man's story will have the main character, grow from weak to strong physically, the Rocky story. A female, a story meant for women will have that, but not because she works out. It's usually based on some relationship or some cause. It's more emotion based or social based. So
exactly,
that's kind of the difference there. The cycle for men is getting stronger, overcoming obstacles, conquering the bad guy, where women prefer the emotional, social conflict
and validation.
Yeah. And so you gain the attention of XYZ, and so do you want him or do you reject him? You kind of like a lot of normal romance stories is guy attractive and you make you fall in love with him, and then is trying to maintain their relationship or developing their relationship, right? Men don't care. Men kind of just want to get assigned a girlfriend and then you protect her. That's kind of what story is.
You were starting to break up a bit, but I was just able to hear what you were saying. And yeah, 100%. And so let's check out this video that John has shared right here. I haven't seen this before. I'm interested.
Yeah, not about the nail.
It's just, there's all this pressure, and sometimes it feels like it's right up on me and I can just feel it, like literally feel it in my head, and it's relentless. And I don't know if it's going to stop. I mean, that's the thing that scares me the most, is that I don't know if it's ever going to stop.
Yeah. Well, you do have a nail in your head.
It is not about the nail.
Are you sure? Because I'll bet if
sorry. Anyone who's married
it kind of is
going to be laughing and relating to this. No joke. I've had not exactly, but when I say similar, no joke, when my wife has been offloading her burden to me, in the early days, my response was, okay, well, we could do this. We could do it to fix it. It's like that upset her. She just no. She wanted me to listen. That's what the shot. I was the, and so already I can see where this is going.
You're supposed to listen.
Brilliant.
Yeah, you're not supposed to start solving things because that's insulting, actually.
We got that out of there.
Stop trying to fix it.
No, I'm not trying to fix it. I'm just pointing out that maybe the nail is causing.
You always do this. You always try to fix things when what I really need is for you to just listen.
No, see, I don't think that is what you need. I think what.
I love this. This is great, John.
Like, shut up. Stop talking. Stop trying to fix it.
But don't you guys, like, women are very empathetic and they want you to know how they feel before you try and solve anything. Because if you don't try and understand how they feel, they feel like there's a disconnect there, that you're not really with them in trying to solve it. Because how would you really want to
they want you
solve
on the same empathetic wave as them.
Yes.
Because they want their emotions about whatever's going on to be validated. The validation thing is really the key to a lot of female coded stories, female characters, and just frankly, just women, a lot of women in general. Thank God not my wife isn't one of them. She thinks more like a guy. I married a tomboy. I got very lucky.
I married a very girly girl, and I love that I did it. And she's helped me understand her psyche and the female psyche. And when I say understand, I don't think it's logical, right? I still have that disconnect from the male mind, right? But I can try it. I can understand it, I guess, from their point of view.
Look, Jay, it's impossible to turn it off as a man. You kind of it's like holding your breath. You could turn it off for a little bit, but it's going to come back.
Yeah.
It's the thing that women don't understand about men is that it's not just that we are simple creatures. It's that what's coded into our psyches is problem solving. That is why, traditional heroic fantasy stories resonate with us so well, because it's about being presented with a seemingly insurmountable challenge and going, yes, I can do that. If I was in this situation, I would be the guy piloting the X-Wing down the Death Star trench and blowing it up with that one lucky shot. Because if it happens to me, it's why a lot of guys, when they take a poll, say that they think they could take on something like a lion in a hand-to-hand combat. They feel like the masculinity of all men everywhere would coalesce in this one instance, so that they could get off a lucky shot and punch the lion in the snout. And
I'm pretty sure some mentality they got us to hunt mammoths and stuff.
Yeah. They're imagining a glory that they have not achieved yet, and that is more important to them than pretty much anything. Every man believes this, even if it's almost a fallacy at some point.
But
it's there.
Men love it. It's built into us. Love to overcome and conquer, and overcoming things feels like conquering something, and it is tied in with male power fantasy and all that stuff. And this is healthy when men actually get to excel at what we instinctively want to do: fix things, solve things, overcome things, conquer things, and even dominate problems, right? It can go too far. I'm not saying it can't, but channeled in the right way, which is what heroic fantasy is meant to do. Heroic fantasy is the guide that gives men the instinctive knowledge in how to channel these instincts in a positive way to build things up, right? And in contrast, women often get their kind of, satisfaction from not only validation in who they are, but in connecting with something, feeling understood. And that's why they often instead of trying to tame things outside, go into the world and tame the world, they love conquer the world. That's the male thing. Women like to order their environment to be productive and helpful, and so that's why homemaking comes so instinctive to women and hunting becomes so instinctive to men. These are very complementary perspectives, so much so on the most fundamental level. They can be in conflict, but what needs to happen is to learn how they complement, and then things can really, really grow.
Mother Nature is sexist. Mother Nature is very sexist.
Oh, hugely so. Hugely so. When men and women are given, not imposed upon by external forces, they nearly all revert to factory settings and instincts. And
Men
and
go off and
women
protect
end up
and,
behaving.
and hunt and stuff, and women
Yep.
stay home. It's just this is how it works. And but one thing that K-pop Demon Hunters taught me is that there seems to be a war going on in America between women and feminists. Because feminists are the ones that they're demanding that, oh, we are women and we want like weak men and ugly girl bosses, and then women actually gravitate towards traditional things that are meant for women, which are just cool characters who fall in love with boys and get all giddy about boys and everything, but also are noble and friendly and they don't keep in mind the Huntrix team. No time do they disrespect any men. They don't disrespect any men based on like, oh, we're women and we want to overpower you. Like they're nice to the manager. The only time they ever fight against, they have any hostilities against men is if they're demons, if they're enemies. So there's no feminist nonsense in there. There's no girl bossing in there. They're cool. They fight pretty well. But they do so out of nobility. Not because we want to show you that we're better than you and that you said we couldn't, so we want to do it anyway to spite you. It's not bottom line. They don't act out of spite in K-pop Demon Hunters. They act out of nobility. They want to do the right thing, which is very heroic. And so, that movie showed me there's a war right now between feminists and women.
Oh, really? Sorry. This is an interesting comment. Why do women love James Bond? And it's because James Bond is a classically masculine man, and women are attracted to that. All right. Most women are not attracted to the feminist, forced, feminized, gentle, male feminist archetype. Not even.
If you guys know this that account called Homath. He has a really, really great video that breaks this whole process down. It's kind of where I've come from with a lot of the psychological elements between men and women when writing. Comes from. It's called Sword Pill, and it was explaining the dynamics. It comes down to the danger. The danger equals power, and women like to imagine that the man who is dangerous they are also powerful, but if they can get on their good side, then that is danger that is on their side as well. That's why the bad boy trope is so appealing to women, because in real life, a bad boy is bad for a reason and usually results in trips to jail and court custody battles, things like that. But in a fictional setting, it's appealing because it's a dangerous person that values them, and that's where kind of it only works the most. James Bond is a dangerous man, but he is a very controlled danger. He's a bit of a womanizer, yes, but it's kind of in a fictional, sexy manner. It's not in you're going to be calling him up for you're going to be calling up him for what is it called? I lost my thought.
Booty call?
God. No. Oh gosh, the phrase went right out of my head. I'm stupid.
It happens to me all the time.
But anyway, he is in a fictional setting. Yeah, it's very appealing because of how dangerous he is. He's danger that's on their side, even to the extent that he ends up seducing, women that are working for his enemies. They start to see, oh, this guy is more dangerous than the guy that I'm working for. I'll take the chance and side with James Bond.
I mean, and this is an age-old understanding. Beauty and the Beast, that whole story is actually expressing this fundamental understanding that women are attracted to danger, power, and they want, the idea that they have the power in themselves to actually tame a beast, and then he will be devoted to her because she has such inherent either beauty or value, and that's an inherent validation, and so it speaks to them in their psyche as well.
And the power comes in different forms. It does not necessarily have to be like a superpower of sorts. It can be physical dominance. It can be, extreme wealth. It can be, extended status. That's why in a lot of these romantasy and modern romance books, a lot of the guy that is the main male character love interest is something along the lines of an immortal dragon prince, a billionaire, or a
monster, or powerful in some way.
Exactly. Right. But and if you kind of crack down into those narratives, you will end up seeing that even though they are all these dangerous things that they like because that's a huge power imbalance. There still do things that are extremely feminized, like validate their political beliefs or show that they're, super sensitive and caring, or at times, just willing to get on their knees and kind of not so much bow down to the female character, but, kind of validate how great they are as well. And it comes down to that validation aspect. So, it's as unrealistic as what a male power fantasy is, which is I'm delivering this pizza to this buxom MILF who wants complete unattached sex for no reason because she ordered a pizza when she knows she doesn't have money.
The thing is, men have an instinct that if that does happen, men are like, wait a minute. What's happening? Men actually have an instinct. Men actually have this instinct of like, if it's too easy, men are like, wait a minute, hold on, what's going on?
Something's wrong
It's like an evolutionary instinct that if it's a little too easy, then something might go wrong. But I did a comparison a long time ago where it's Galadriel, right? Galadriel, she's getting picked on by elven bullies because even in paradise, all the boys are stupid and they're bullying around. But instead of the usual thing, Galadriel goes over there and beats up the boy and beats up all the bullies and I win the day. When really, if she were a guy, I compared it to like a Karate Kid and Neverending Story. Like these guys were bullied and they got dominated. They had to work through their problems over the course of the story to get over this stuff. As opposed to Galadriel, who's the Miss Girl Boss over here, who just instantly fights and defeats all the bullies with her fists because she's so super awesome right from the get go.
Yep, and that's the flaw in. Sorry, okay.
I was saying men struggle. That's kind of the missing ingredient here is that they don't want their characters to struggle, but these characters that we like, these male characters that we like, that they're so jealous of, we like them because they struggle and they overcome these obstacles.
And exactly, and that's what I was going to say. Is like that's the flaw in feminizing traditional hero, stories, where they make the primary protagonist character perfect from the get-go because their power fantasy is validation and discovering their, inner specialness and everything, right? And it doesn't work in traditional male heroic fantasy. Now there are ways to interweave it, and that's what I'm doing with my current book that I'm so close to finishing off, and I'm excited for people to read it because I love to explore all these tropes, and there is something in it that I've done even more about. There's an inner specialness about the female character in it, but she's not the primary protagonist. The male is, and they both have a classic storytelling arc. The male goes on a very classic male storytelling arc, and the female goes on a very classic female storytelling arc, and it's interwoven together to celebrate the differences between men and women and how they're supposed to work together. And I'm excited to get it out. But let's get back to the video here because this is hilarious and I'm already loving it.
You need is to get the nail.
See, you're not even listening now.
Okay, fine. I will listen. Fine.
It's just sometimes it's like there's this achy, I don't know what it is. And I'm not sleeping very well at all. And all my sweaters are snagged. I mean, all of them.
That sounds really hard.
It is.
Just validate her, bro. Just validate her.
Yeah, this is more true than people realize. And I know it's taken to a parody extreme, but there's an underlying truth being expressed here.
Ow!
Oh, come on. If you would just
Don't.
Oh, that was great. That was great. Oh boy. So this kind of comes all around to something because one of the topics that we're going to be talking about is how triggered people get over like normal things, traditional things like traditional relationships. And I actually saw this thanks to John. Do you have the tweet? I can bring it up. I got it.
Yeah, no, I got it. Oh, wait. Do I got it? No. I can find it in a few short clicks.
I have it here because I got it on a bookmark.
Nah, you beat me.
So here it is, right? This tweet here. And by the way, like obvious. Yes, good. Let me stop sharing. I need to reshare a correct screen. All right. So Michael F. Caine, something very harmless in the larger scheme of things, right? More children's stories should end like this. I agree 100%. And so many traditional stories do that. Like the ultimate happy end goal is that the hero hooks up with the beautiful damsel that he either saves or went through some trial or journey or adventure with. And what's the classic tag? They live happily ever after. And it's really important that the classic kind of end state of so many stories, the happy ending that we aim for, is wholesome family, a love between a man and a woman that they fall in love with and value, and then they get to raise a family together. That's the ultimate goal. And this is triggering people.
And this is a great. Sorry, go ahead.
I said we want heroes rewarded. That's what we want to see. That's why the ending happily ever after is so popular.
That's the contention that feminists have, is that they think it frames them as a prize to be won. That was their big crying complaint for decades. And
what if they are? Isn't that a complimentary thing that men would value the female so much that they see it as this glorious prize to be earned?
Oh, the second wave feminists thought it reducted them. And this is the perfect example of taking of kind of overcoming a lot of the problems we have. Because if you remember the first movie, Astrid had all the red flags of a girl boss. She was superior. She was standoffish. She had my cameras breaking. She did not see the value in Hiccup because he had not proven himself like that. And the best part is, Hiccup did not undermine anything that she did. He kind of subverted a lot of her efforts by becoming better than her by using cunning, guile, and a little bit of intellect, but without, humiliating her or berating her. And in the end, she saw, this goes back to the power dynamic. She saw the value in him. His value was higher than hers because he was accomplishing things she could not through her means.
Yes, he was earning
the girl boss.
Yeah, he earned the competence. And now Astrid, her competence was validated from the very beginning. She doesn't go through much of an arc in terms of growth and achieving, strength in combat or anything like that. She is like that from the beginning. And it's interesting that I think girls that watch this might resonate a bit with that because they want to feel validated that they start special and they're always special, right? And so I love How to Train Your Dragon. Like the first movie is a masterpiece, and it's a masterpiece in masculine, like storytelling. Like Hiccup starts weak, he goes through an arc, becomes stronger by finding other sources of strength to achieve the masculine standard and expectation. And unfortunately, we lost John. His camera was freezing there for a bit. So hopefully he'll be back. But he achieves the masculine standard of what is expected of men to do. What is expected men to do? To step up to the tasks and the responsibilities that you need. He's expecting to be a chief. And instead of just saying, oh, we should lessen the standards of being a chief and accept you for being so weak and helpless, Hiccup. No, Hiccup steps up and achieves those standards. He doesn't there's no excuses made for Hiccup, but he achieves it in a different way that other people expect. But he achieves it and blows those expectations out of the water with how well he does and how strong he becomes. It is such a brilliantly masculine coded story, How to Train Your Dragon, about traditional heroism. Absolutely. And the fact that it has this end state is cherry on top.
Yeah, the modern day does not like the idea of having to earn things. It should be like you need to be given things because otherwise you feel bad. So if this were done like in a modern day with modern day sensibilities, they would have that the whole thing would have ended with them lowering the standards so that he become chief, because it make him feel better. That's kind of the toxic empathy that we talk about. You should be working up to the power of a chief.
Yeah, and think about the disaster that would have befallen their village if they lowered those standards and accepted Hiccup in his weakness where he was at, right? They would be destroyed. They would be utterly destroyed. And so it would have spelt disaster.
I'm going to point. I know we're talking about this later, but this is something that was addressed, that happened in the 3rd episode of A Night of the 7 Kingdoms. So this is encountering your flaw, encountering your weaknesses. But when we get there, we'll get there.
I got it. But that's why people are loving Night of 7 Kingdom. Like Drinker did a whole video on it.
I'm loving it. I am loving Night of 7 Kingdom.
It's so good. It's a tale of traditional heroism. People love this. We're starved for it. When we get it, and it doesn't matter that you might think it's just a repeated trope. No, you can repackage that trope and give it in a new creative way, and it's as fresh as the first day it was told. It's exactly what I'm doing with my current story, right? It is a classic boy becomes knight story, but interlaid with new ways of exploring it. There are the challenges he faces, the classic kind of descending into the underworld and everything like all of that is there intentionally in this story. And I've loved writing it. I'm so close to finishing it, because these are things that it resonates with me writing it, because these are the stories that I love and I want to consume more of, and there needs to be more of. And again, going back to How to Train Your Dragon, it is just so good. It is so brilliant, the way that Hiccup, he goes through his arc and everything. One of my favorite stories. And I find it, and also just to also add on to the thing that you were saying before, Lit Dev, about the whole narrative today. Not only is it generally a more female-coded kind of storytelling trope about you need to be validating who they are, and then foregoing growth and everything like that. There is a type of toxic femininity that goes too far. Male, masculinity, the whole idea of toxic masculinity. I'm perfectly think that I've seen masculinity taken way too far and going to the extreme where it becomes immoral, right? But the female psyche can as well, where I can understand how so many women want to feel validated and for people to discover that they are special and that they are loved, right? But it can go so too far when then they accept their own weaknesses as even sometimes things to be celebrated, and then demand everyone accept all these flawed weaknesses. And then that has been taken and then exaggerated in the woke ideological movement with the whole victimhood complex narrative, reparations, as well as what is it called when they change standards in hiring practices to accommodate for people from disadvantaged backgrounds?
Affirmative action.
Affirmative action. Thank you. Affirmative action, right? Where the whole idea of affirmative action is lowering standards, right, to accommodate for people's weaknesses or challenges based on a victimhood narrative because they blame everyone else for the difficulties in their life. And I'm not saying that sometimes difficulties in your life are not caused by external factors or other people. Yes, they are, but a lot of factors are caused by themselves, and by blaming everyone else, even when it might be legitimately caused, you're giving up some of your own empowerment in discovering that you still have the power to overcome these challenges. Some might have been legitimately caused by other people, but by blaming other people and expecting other people to solve it for you and give you reparations for it or anything like that, right, means that it will never happen. You have to take control of your own life and overcome those challenges, and you have to realize that you have the power to do it. And so the woke ideology robs people of that, makes them perpetual victims, and the world just drowns in conflict of everyone pointing a finger at everyone else for all the problems in their life. And it is horrible, the results, like genuine.
I do think we are coming close to, I don't know necessarily of an end, but an era where the people that have kind of perpetrated this and put this up there have become something of social pariahs. You got to remember when a lot of the woke stuff and the cancel culture and everything this started popping off in the mid 2010s, about 10 years or so ago, and got real popular. It kind of became a bit of a popular counterculture movement, and never ever doubt how much women will be driven by their validation through FOMO. for fear of missing out. When they feel like this is the popular thing, all the people I know are doing the popular thing, I'm going to go along with what the popular consensus is. And we're kind of coming to a place where the popular consensus is that this is a much more toxic and unbearable kind of a thing. That's why they're being called awfuls now. Affluent white, affluent white female liberals. And they're getting y'all haven't heard that one before?
No, but I love it.
Yeah, awful. AWFL, affluent white female liberals. And yeah, the white female liberal just being an insufferable, unbearable person to be around in general, unless you completely agree with them, is starting to kind of have a bit of a social backlash against them, especially in the online spaces, especially on Twitter, to where they are retreating to their little enclaves where they're only getting the echo chamber validation. Yeah, there we go. Affluent white female urban liberal. There you go.
Urban, I guess so, yeah.
So yeah, once that kind of starts to die down with some of these other trends, like the trans trend is definitely starting to die out now. It has become a bit of a cultural poison pill. Some of these pet issues that they've tried to prop up as much. And once they start to die out and they see that I don't want to be part of the unpopular thing, right? Think about video games when video games used to have a negative connotation for girls. They saw only nerds and geeks would play video games. They didn't want no part of it. Then once video games became much more popular and there was a lot of money and attention flowing to it, who started popping up?
Female gamers.
Yeah. And the ones that, anyway, go ahead.
No, I'm on 100% on board with you. And in addition, right, a lot of these ideological movements are destined to fail because they are so contradictory to human nature. The reality is now I'm not saying that they can't do harm along the way. They have. So many women have been utterly misled and their lives ruined by buying into the feminist narrative that you don't need this. This is oppression. This is you being treated like an object. A man devoted to you is going to look after you, give you children, and help, provide for you while you get to raise children in love and happiness. And holy crap, when we were talking about how women resonate with a sense of validation and when they are valued by someone else, this is why, nurturing infants is like a drug to women, because this infant has 100% complete and total trust in their mother and love, like the attachment that the infant has to the lover. And no matter that attachment and love is pure and 100% and unconditional, right? And so when women are nurturing this child in their arms, sorry, what?
That thing gets weird with these crazies, because it's so disturbing, because I remember that era where everyone's just coming out constantly. It was like these trans men who would come out as I'm trans to their kids because they were teachers, and then also is they're coming out as gay, and they was like, oh, I came out as gay to my students. They're so supportive. Like, this is why this is so creepy. This is so weird. But yeah, it's that whole thing about they're completely dependent on you. They're 100% supportive. They'll just they don't know exactly what's going on. They just want to make you happy. And so of course you're going to come out to them as gay or trans, and they're going to be supportive because they like you. Yeah, but that's so creepy. But that does make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And going back to the fundamental thing, right, is that a baby loves its mother and is attached to the mother 100%. And if there's any sense of what a woman where they want to get validation because of someone appreciating them, a child is that to 1,000 times, right? And they just get this sense of appreciation and love and validation, and it's powerful. It is so powerful and fulfilling for most women who have this psyche, that their whole self is built around. And feminism is trying to subvert that. That's the whole, they're trying to say, oh, it's just slavery. You're not really going to like children. It's just going to work you ragged and you're never going to get proper appreciation for it. And they get triggered by things that point in that direction, like this. People be getting triggered by this, like this tweet. It's over 2 million views, 2.6 million views now.
Good one, Michael. Good one.
Ah, perfect. Where
I love what
just
he said in response to this. He said, "This is gonna be for him and his wife to go out on date night. He's gonna use the money from this to take the wife on a date." Good one, bro.
He got like $10 from this tweet. But something similar also happened recently with the tweet trigger a fandom with one image, and the guy, the one that got the most attention was essentially this, like, large guy, scarred up guy, this normal nurturing woman, and then it ended up with his head in her lap, her nurturing him, and that one made millions of views. That one also got everyone triggered and angry, and a lot, weirdly enough, that particular image, it triggered a lot of gay guys, and I know that because they're all going, "Oh, I hate cis white people" or something like that. So it was like particularly it triggered a lot of gay people, which was really strange.
And what I love is like
sold books too.
So many of the responses that Michael is responding to are people giving other examples of where the trope is baked into the story and celebrated, right? And it's such a classic part of traditional storytelling, and is doing the right thing. Respond to the positive comments, and every comment you respond to are the ones that appear highest in the thing, because this thing has had over 2 million views. And so if you want to see where people are getting triggered by this, it is usually always in the quote tweets, and some will be positive, but this is where you'll find some of the people spurging out about this, but at least we got some good ones here. And then look at this on LOL, you pissed off some crazies. I see. Look at
insane.
Stay the F away from them. Here come Ash and both would beat you to death.
What do you mean? That's in the movie.
Look,
I know.
Listen, don't doubt that there is some of this being driven by people in fandoms who are heavily into the shipping element, and that they headcanon away from whatever the actual canon relationships are towards the ship canons that they imagine in their head. They try and these are the people that trick themselves into thinking that Will and Mike from Stranger Things were going to become gay lovers before the end of the show, because they were trying to will that into existence.
Mm-hmm.
Shippers are a bit of a poison in a fandom.
Oh, they are, yeah. But the actual hate they have for traditional love, traditional marriage. Look at this. Favorite het ship being turned into trad wife propaganda. Oh, there are fates worse than death. These people are insane. Utterly insane.
Suffer, bitch. Suffer.
That's literally in the movie. He did.
I know.
He has to do
Look
nothing.
at this.
He just does nothing.
Using Hickstrad as trad wife content, trad wife propaganda. Yes, it's trad wife propaganda.
Oh, that sounds
Cry
good.
about it, you psychos.
Could that be a genre? Could that be like a subgenre of books? You know how like they have like female protagonists, LGBTQ. Can we have trad wife propaganda?
Look at this. Look at this. The hate for traditional motherhood and homemaking. What? Completely butchering your main character's arc with his best friend and reducing the coolest, most badass woman in the franchise to nothing but a wife. Piss off.
That's the main thing about them, is that they hate and devalue the idea of being a wife.
Yes. And that is disgusting. That is evil. No joke. The belittling and hatred to traditional motherhood and homemaking and being a wife is disgusting, right? But it's rampant by these actual crazies.
The argument is that I don't want to lose my identity to just being a housewife and a mother. Like that's that you can either be a housewife and a mother or your own person. You can't be both in their view.
Z-Tac in the chat has a good example. The reason a lot of them do this is because there's been examples where they have managed to will this into existence. You look at the end of Avatar with Korra, where they had the lesbian relationship that popped up at the last scene in the last episode, and in Critical Role, they willed this gay relationship into existence to where they finally acknowledged it at like the very end of the final episode of the campaign, that yes, these two guys that you were shipping the entire time, yes, they did end up becoming gay lovers. And it's because they occasionally get their way. Mind you, a lot of the people that are behind the properties that they end up putting these ships into are sympathetic from an ideological standpoint. So they listen to what their audience is trying to tell them, and they give their audience what they want. The rest of us can fuck off.
All right, yeah. And it subverts something really important, because the reality is, this is the true reality. Remember how I said that there are certain things just baked into, like women raising infants, that, you know, gives them such a huge fulfillment and emotional validation and satisfaction, right? Most women, unironically, most women will gain the most happiness and satisfaction in life through traditional marriage and motherhood. 100%. Okay. And I think they're kind of lucky in that regard, that they have a path in life that not only like is open to so many women, right? And most women, right? A lot of guys, their standards aren't, you know, huge, right? Like, if you're just willing to cook for them, they will love you to death, right? Cook for them and have a romantic relationship. They will provide and love you forever. Most men we can be simple creatures, okay? And it's not hard for most women to actually be able to offer that. And not only that, do they have this open to them? Most men are wanting that. They're willing to offer many things for women if they're willing, interested in pursuing such a thing. And then it is a type of career path in terms of, this is what you're doing with the rest of your, you know, homemaking, being a mother, raising children, stuff like that. That is an option to them that has very high statistics of bringing huge satisfaction and happiness. Most guys, right, in terms of our career path, oftentimes our options in the jobs that we have to do suck. But men are willing to do it if it builds or supports something of value, like a traditional household, traditional family. That's why men are able to get through the slog of working in crappy offices or the coal mines or things like that.
A great guy that kind of helps break down these kind of male-female dynamics that I've listened to is Adam Lane Smith. He's a marriage therapist, which doesn't always apply to me, but when he breaks down these dynamics, sometimes he comes up with really gold statements. And one of them that I've kept for a long time about men, regarding to what you're saying, is that men need 3 things to make themselves happy. They need a purpose. They need a mission, they need a purpose, and they need the power to accomplish that purpose. And if they have all 3, they will crawl through glass with a smile on their face in order for it. So, you know, my mission is to provide for my family. My purpose is to, maybe thinking that wrong. My purpose is to provide for my family. My mission is to get a job to provide for those family. And the power I have is through my work. And because of that, again, I've been working 16-hour shifts for years, sometimes mostly on the weekends, sometimes during the week, to provide for my family. And I'm happy to do that.
Yes, because it supporting and building something that truly matters. And men have been willing to accept this exchange from the dawn of time, right? And women who like this whole bullcrap girl boss narrative that you can, you know, be a girl boss and earn lots of money and everything like that. So many women are getting fooled into this, and they end up lonely and miserable with nothing of value in their life because they've missed the opportunity to build something truly of value.
And they always break it down to, this is something I have a contention with when it comes to the relationship discourse on social media these days. Too many people break down relationships into a transactional partnership where you've got this many chores, I've got this many chores, and if you don't do it, you know, they get bent out of shape about it. And guys, I've been married. Next month, I will have been with my wife for 27 years, okay? It's okay if you come home, she's not feeling great. You know, once in a while, she says, I don't feel like cooking. I'm just tired and I'm, exhausted from whatever. It's okay. I don't mind, stepping up, cook a little supper for all of us, because we have shared more tasks and delegated chores than we have, sitting there bickering over them. Sometimes I take out the trash. Sometimes she takes it out. If I'm home, I usually take it out. But if I don't take it out, she don't jump down my throat. If I come home and she don't have supper cooked because she didn't feel like it or we didn't have anything good to make, it's fine. Sometimes you just order pizza. When you start breaking this stuff down to a series of transactions, I did X, so I should get X. you start to lose what a relationship needs to be founded on, which is genuine love and affection. And most importantly, dedication and devotion. That devotion part is really important, because if you're not devoted to each other and you're just reducing your relationship down to a list of chores for he and her, you're not in it to win it.
Yeah. And so much of it comes down appreciating what your partner is contributing to the relationship. And at times that'll be more, at times it'll be less, but
and that goes both ways.
It goes both ways. It goes both ways.
Award-winning, I think he's award-winning, but he's a very well-known essayist, which is Robert Bly. I've talked about him before. He wrote Iron John, which has a lot of commentary on men and men's struggles and things through story and the psychology of men as it's been animated through story. But the thing is, one of the things he said that became a problem and why men have been diminished in society is the moment men stopped working, like where the families of men stop watching them work, because usually, traditionally it was like they go out there, they come back covered in blood and everything because they hunted. And then we had farmers, right, where you basically wake up, you go outside, you start farming, and your family could watch you work and everything, and you come home and it was a lot easier. Now what happens? The father goes all the way across town to some office, and you don't see them for hours. They come back and not covered in blood, they're not sweaty, they might be a little bit tired, and so the wife is like, you didn't do anything today.
Yeah, sometimes you were just off having fun all day at work with your work buddies and stuff like that.
There's the inverse of this too, because some men will come home and, like, unless you watched a camera and saw them sit on the couch literally from the time you left to the time you got back, usually the wife is doing something to kind of keep the house running. In my case, my wife, she helps pay the finances. She homeschools our kids. She cooks, and picks up from time to time. But it denigrating that to something that is not exhausting to do all day. Try and do that all day. It's not a lot of fun, but it has to get done. And I don't like when women start arguing about being in marriage as, I'm not going to cook and clean for some man all day. Okay, you already do that for yourself, right? Because I assume you're an adult when you say this, and you've got your own house, you cook your own meals, you clean your own place, you take out your own trash. You do all these things that you will be doing in a marriage anyway, but now you're doing them by yourselves for the benefit of who? Your cats? That's fulfilling.
Yeah.
Men shouldn't really get anything. Everything a man wants is entitlement. In modern day perspective, it's anything. And I like they came up with this. I found out I was trying to do this video. I did the video on Ken, and which happened to be a lot about masculinity. But I found while doing that video, found this term that they use called man keeping, which essentially when it's talking about the emotional labor, the burden that women take on having to care for a man's feelings, to care for the boyfriend's feelings, because she's like this one of the sole emotional outlets for him, and so she has to take on that burden. It's called man keeping.
Because men never have to, accommodate for women's emotions. The absolute hypocrisy in feminism is unbelievable. Where they attack men for all these things, and they don't see the hypocrisy that they're as guilty as anyone else that's pointing towards. And then the entitlement thing, the entitlement in feminism is just unbelievable, right? It goes nuts, and it ruins people's lives.
And to say nothing of the mixed messaging where women will be on social media and saying, we want men to do this. We want men to be emotional and cry and open up about their feelings. And then you start getting the horror stories of men that actually follow these instructions and then absolutely ruined how their women looked at them. So it's like, no, there is something to stoicism. There is something to classic strong masculinity. I've always viewed it as, you are a pillar of strength for your family. You need to be strong enough for them to lean on you. It's okay. Occasionally they prop you up a little bit in little ways, but when that power imbalance kind of hits, it really ends up becoming a strain on any kind of relationship.
Not only that, right? Like men that men are emotional creatures as much as women. How we process emotions are very different, and that's the key. Women externalize emotions, men internalize emotions traditionally, and there's value to those things. There's important value where when things hit the fan and men need to do the job and it's hard and it's emotional, like by men internalizing emotion, it often enables them to keep doing the job that needs to be done. And what happens in my experience is, because again, I follow the traditional masculine kind of ideal that, that try to, avoid crying when you're hurt or stuff like that. But it's not to say there have been times in my life where sometimes things got too much and I have a bit of a breakdown and a meltdown, right? But it happens rarely, nowhere near as much as my wife. My wife has had emotional moments with me far more. But because I'm a man and they do happen more rare, my wife tends to react very supportive when that happens, because she knows that's something really serious. Like to push me this far to get me to that moment is something very extreme. Because men are emotional. It's just we deal with it differently. But it's not to say men can't have breakdowns. They
that's another that's another part of the equation that doesn't get talked about enough, is the fact that it's always the feminists always put the change, the things that need to be fixed. They always put everything on men, and absolutely zero self-reflection on their part. This goes back to kind of the validation aspect, where they feel they don't need to be changed. I mean, it's a meme about women and accountability. That would require them to have self-reflection and to be able to see their own flaws. And most of them, in their eyes, especially the feminists, don't view themselves as flawed. They're already perfect the way they are, and the rest of the world needs to validate their perfection. That's why they put all the change and stuff on the men.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The other aspect that Robert Bly kind of points out is in the diminishment of men. The fact that no one sees men working anymore, so it just seems like they do nothing all day except having fun. The other one is the demonization of physical labor.
Yeah.
And so it was it happens, and this started with the destruction of the family, because then the husband, the father goes away, and that causes a psychological resentment in the children, especially the son. So they start to hate the dad, which sounds familiar today. And then also that leaves just the mother. And the mother is the one saying, you need to get a good job. You don't want to become a ditch digger or like a construction worker. You don't want, basically, the women do not like physical labor, so they will demonize it. And so our society has demonized physical labor. But thing is, men need to do physical labor. It's coded in men's DNA, and that's why you could. That's why we have like things like Fight Club and Office Space. Men go to work and they don't work, and they just sit around and look at computers, and they don't have the physical aspect of it. So that is why when men, with one of the things today is that you go to the office and then you feel depressed, and one of the pieces of advice for men is to go lift weights, right? Go lift weights, go to the gym, and it works. It works. If you're sad, if you're depressed as a man, you lift some weights, it does help with that. And that's because men need to do physical labor. They do need to do physical labor, and the demonization of physical labor has a really, really diminished men today in society.
Let me tell you a quick little story. I worked for 12 years in construction, right? Industrial, residential, whatnot. I was primarily an electrical worker. For 4 years, I worked at a manufacturing plant building fire trucks. That was a very rewarding job. Terrible bosses, but that's a different story. When I decided to switch careers to the medical field, I went into nursing school for about 16 months. And overnight, I started working in an ER. And believe me, I could tell stories.
Wow.
I check people in at the front desk, right? It's 7 hours. I go work 12 hours overnight and then go to school during the day. Very hard. About, I want to say 10, 12 months in, I started going through construction withdrawals. I started looking. The only thing we could access on the computer was Google, so I could, I could just flip around, look all day. I started looking up construction projects. I started looking at like deck plans, and I'm like, I could build that. I just need some wood and a saw and a hammer. And like, I could build that. I'm smart enough to be able to do that. Yeah, I'm going to build it. I didn't have time to do any of this, mind you, but it's like I was dying to build something because I had done it for so long. When I was a teenager, I built Legos, I drew stuff, I wrote stuff. This spills over into the creative space where, like me and Shad, there is a part of writing that triggers the creative part of your brain. You are building something. You're building something with words, but you're building something. This is something that was built, maybe not in the traditional sense, but it very much applies to the physical aspect as well. Yeah. And to this day, I've got to build something. I've got to have a yard project to work on or something. I like doing yard work just because I like to get out there and I like to do something with it. I like to mow the grass. Plus I can daydream and think about, whatever's going into my next book. So that kind of helps as well. But you are 100% right, man. Men need to build things. They need to build things with their hands, even if it's something that's a hobby. That is very therapeutic. Model painting, Legos, hell, I knew a guy in a nursing home that did crochet just to have something to do with his hands.
Yeah, it's part of the internalizing emotion that men naturally do, right? Where people say you're suppressing. Men often will need to just internalize it, process, think things through, let time pass, and doing something with your hands kind of has a disconnect where your body is doing something and you let your mind process. And it's a very common way men deal with stuff. Absolutely. So the world is still broken with all these crazy people trying to subvert natural reality, traditional norms and values, especially between the sexes. And one of the things that had triggered people massively that hit the news a couple of weeks ago, but we're a bit late to it, but I still, want to talk about it. Have you heard about the game Knight's Path, gentlemen?
Oh, yes.
I think I know what you're talking about.
It's a game in development.
And so they're so porn-brained that just a face is
just
like,
a face.
This is pornography. This is eroticism. Like, what? It's just a face. I guess it's not like a full body where she's wearing a bikini. It's just a face.
It's just a face. But the problematic things, it's conventional beauty. She's white and blonde haired, and so that's like got problematic. Aryan. Like white supremacist vibes. Don't forget,
her worst crime of all is smiling instead of smirking.
Right? Like, the world is so broken that a harmless image of a conventionally attractive white woman is breaking people's brains. They think this is problematic so Knight's Path is an indie game in development that I have shouted out multiple times already on Shadiversity. They're doing some really great things in terms of just depicting the medieval world and way things function. Like their armor is gorgeous. Their armor doesn't flex. Their armor is actually metal plates that interact like metal plates. That was the first thing that got my attention. I did a whole video on it, got over 100,000 views, and they loved it. And they let me know that they are actually being inspired by one of my older videos called Medieval Combat Reference, where I talk about realistic combat animations in video games, and they've been taking specific inspiration from that. So I've had a good relationship with Knight's Path, and these guys, not only do they seem like just good, friendly, earnest developers wanting to make a great game, they seem based as well, and they just want to make a cool game. And so they announced this, right? And this is their character model for the love interest in the game. That's what it was. Let's read their tweet, right? This was the intro. Introducing Amelia, one of the female characters you can form a romantic relationship within the game. That's it. That's all.
She looks like a man. This is propaganda.
Well.
This is hetero propaganda.
This is where it gets fun, because this was like Amelia from Knight's Path. It was made by modern developers.
Yeah, hail Daily Bugle. Hail, brother.
A crackhead.
Yeah, the Daily View. But no, genuinely, because the thing why this is, and it shouldn't be exceptional, but it's sad that it is because it's an actual attractive woman that looks like a woman. And it's not like this modern, interpretation of what attraction is, where you have to be attracted to the most plain average women you could ever imagine. And in fact, you should be attracted to women that look like men. That's even more of the bigger thing that they push these days. But no joke, it's been triggering people. And it's like, why? And there's like actual medieval beauty. It's like, oh, not historically accurate. It's like, what? Hang on. You guys have a problem with you want things to be historically accurate now, when you've been pushing so many characters to be changed into black people in the medieval period when they weren't nearly as representative? You want Norse, Viking characters that have you want Anne Boleyn to be depicted as a black woman. Don't give me this bullcrap that you're appealing to historical accuracy, you propaganda-brained, dishonest jerks. Get out of here, appealing to historical accuracy. Oh my gosh. And look, Chuds make a game based on historical accuracy, claim they want historical accuracy, but oh no, it's not. It's not appealing. The thing that's triggering is appealing to conventional beauty. That's what's making them go nuts. It's like, funny how for dude bros, natural beauty means generic blue-eyed blonde girl with perfect plucked eyebrows, wearing makeup. And my gosh.
They're all for historical accuracy when it comes to looks. Like, oh, they got to be ugly. But historical accuracy in terms of like actual historical accuracy, no, thank you. Don't like that.
Right, exactly.
Unless Yasuke was a samurai and he slept with like the daughter of the emperor. Like, no, he didn't. Well, it's this
historical accuracy is also a hell of a lot more violent.
Yeah.
And they're not going to like how bigoted everyone would be in history. People were not nearly as accepting back then.
Like, it's funny. So much of these people supposedly triggered by it, and what they're really triggered by is conventional beauty standards, right? And a lot of these
because they don't meet them.
Well, I was going to say, a lot of these ugly feminists, right? They actually could improve themselves if they tried to appeal to conventional beauty standards and put on makeup, smile a bit, all the classic tropes, right? But they find that offensive. How dare you not accept me as I am? And they go out of their way to make themselves look ugly by shaving their heads and dyeing weird colors and piercings all over the place and make themselves look like freaks, right? And then they get triggered by
but I'm going to change everything about me.
Yep. And so that's what's underlining this, but then they'll latch onto any narrative at all to try and validate their craziness. And now it's suddenly historical accuracy when they don't give a piss about historical accuracy. When what it is, it's about their narrative and their agenda, and anything goes in their agenda, even if it's making historical people switching their race completely, like they did it to Anne Boleyn. That's like a bonkers. Right? They do not care about historical aspects. But look, it's like a medieval game. It's all about realism, medieval. No. By the way, it's a fantasy game that is mostly based on medieval realism, but it's fantasy. There's dragons in it, and so they are taking liberties where they want. And one of the liberties, by the way, to think that this is not a medieval possibility is retarded. Of course it was. All right, there were medieval women, farm girls that would have looked very close to this, but they're trying to latch onto like the extremes in some of these medieval fashion trends, like the high forehead, the head wraps, and other things like that. When they don't understand the medieval period was a diverse place with different beauty standards across all a massive swath of countries that fall into medieval Europe, right? And then you have 1,000-year period of varying fashion trends throughout it all. Oh, these people are disingenuous assholes. They don't care about actual truth, right? Actual historical accuracy. And they're just making up bullcrap. But at least there are people defending it, saying, look, we finally have a conventionally attractive woman, in a video game. But you have these crazies spurging out as well. What is this? Homophobic ass devs wants to tout being historically realistic while introducing their first lady wearing eyeliner.
It's just a picture, right?
Yeah. Holy crap.
Just a picture of a face. That's it.
Medieval eyeliner has been around for a long time. Like medieval people had makeup, like varying of different types. Holy crap. And by the way, see these images here? These are in the extremities, right? This was not representative of everyone in the medieval period. And by the way, that's not even a medieval image, idiots. Okay. This one looks, again, not medieval. Queen Elizabeth. I think that's an image of Queen Elizabeth. That's Renaissance. And she was an outlier, right? She was more of an exception. Women did start to copy her because she was the queen and she could set fashion trends as a result. But having a high hairline like that is not a common thing. People are just, they could be being completely retarded.
They're showing you like noble women who might be red too.
Yes, yeah. Sorry, what?
Medieval goon slop.
Goon slop.
I enjoy the word slop attached to stuff. It's just funny to me.
Anything that men like is bad and must be rallied against.
Yeah, that's what a lot of it boils down to at the heart of it. Because it breaks their narratives apart. It goes against their narratives. Anything that goes against their internalized narrative is just brought.
Look at this. People like, I know this is making fun of them, but people have been trying to say this is Gooner bait, right? Oh my gosh. And conventional beauty standards are actually like, yes, there are outliers and exceptions, but the general trends are actually remarkably similar across cultures, right? Where men generally being attracted to, some additional weight in the chest region, some rounded hips around there, as well as symmetry, symmetrical features around the face. And something that's interesting, that's a very consistent thing across cultures, right? Associating women and hair with beauty, women having long hair, right? That was sometimes even almost a risque thing, having women's hair uncovered because of how much of a turn on it could be in the past, right? And so they had certain more standards of modesty where women should cover their hair, and that has been carried on in religions even in the modern day, mind you, with Islam and stuff like that, where the flowing locks of a woman is particularly attractive, so much so that women might even need to cover it, so being more modest.
Now, wait a minute, Chad. I have on good authority that Islam is a feminist religion.
Oh, yes, I've heard that before. But it's even been a older time Christian tradition of women covering their hair. Specifically, that's talking about, in religious practices from a biblical standpoint. But Christians have taken that and exaggerated and taken it to the practice of women needing to cover their hair in their everyday life. And that's where you see some of those kind of wrappings that women wear. And that's where the nun's head covering kind of is an adaptation and a byproduct from the medieval thing that often was worn, but not always. Not always. This is not a universal thing. All right. The medieval period is very diverse place, and so the triggering that has been happening from something so harmless as this is unbelievable. It shows the world is just broken. Feminism and the woke mind virus has just broken people irreparably at this point, where they get triggered by just harmless, modest. There's nothing like immodest or gooner bait or excessive in this image at all, right? I could kind of understand a little bit more if it had, massive cleavage with showing off skin or something like that. But there's nothing wrong with this. What is going on?
It's just a face. This triggered the entire internet. That's how pathetic they are, how porn brain they are. It's just all they see is an attractive face of a white woman, and they think, boom, that's porn. And that's something you masturbate to.
Oh, but if she had piercings or purple hair or a half-shaved face, right, they would be supporting it to like the most insane degree. And they do that whenever it is a divergent type of either sexuality or sexual expression, they will protect it to crazy levels, even defending CP to points. I'm not kidding. They do this, right? It is insane the amount of protection that they go to if it's divergent in any way, because what they actually have a problem with is traditional romance, traditional relationships, any type of heterosexual relationship that might lead to marriage between a man and a woman and having a family, right?
If they took that head and put it on the body of someone who had top surgery scars, I guarantee you they would not be saying the same thing.
Exactly.
But the narrative will be completely reversed.
But it should be bald, piercings, this angry face, and she hates you.
Half-shaved head, Oh, I love that one.
That's probably why they also hate that face, because she's not angry. She's like happy to see you. And they can imagine that she's looking at her man, happy to see him, and that just disgusts them to no end.
They hated that. They were really, really worked up about the whole not wanting someone to tell you to smile thing for a while. So they put on resting bitch face. They all put on resting bitch faces for several years until now they're starting to go around and go, why aren't men talking to me more? Because you look like a bitch and you treat people like you're one too.
Yeah,
you're standoffish. You're unlikable.
Yeah, and feminism, like they tell them to, they celebrate, embrace the, acting like a female dog and all that stuff, right? And then they're wondering, why doesn't anyone like us? It's like,
hey, Mike.
Is Mike in the chat? Hey, thank you for reminding me. I wanted to not forget to mention the GoFundMe. Guys, remember Mike is suffering from, is in recovery from a stroke. He needs help. And so anyone that can, give the guy a hand and donate to his Give, Send, Go, please do. I tell you, like anything really helps, guys. Like $1 even. Doesn't take much. If you're able to contribute anything at all to help Mike, friend, co-host here on Night's Watch and the Culture Crusade, please help him out.
What are gonna do? Listen, before you switch gears to another topic, I need to go ahead and get going. Thank you, gentlemen, for a wonderful conversation. This is very much something I love talking about. These whole dynamics in genders and roles and things like that. It's really interesting to me is someone that writes both male and female characters and trying to nail that down in an interesting and entertaining way is something I've put a lot of thought into. So it's always great to have these discussions. So Shad, Lit Dev, take care, guys.
Cheers, Mike. Oh man, so please, yes, everyone, if you can, if you're in a position to, if you've already donated, thank you so much, and if you can throw another $1 at all. Like Mike had to go back to hospital at one point, and so it's a rough road to recovery. Please help him out if you can. Link in the chat. And Mike, we're thinking of you, mate. Okay, Lit Dev, we need to talk about Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Yes, absolutely. This was the best episode. They've all been good, but third one, best episode by far. But of course, it couldn't have been as good if we didn't have the first two. But really good episode.
Yeah, the first two episodes very much are a great example of needing to set a good foundation, getting you familiar with the characters, endearing yourself to the characters. And so it's a proper preparatory phase of any good story that leads up to when things start to really explode and stuff starts to happen. And that's what happened in this. This is the inciting incident that happened in this last episode on Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and it did not disappoint. Oh man, I'm loving this show. What were some of the standouts for you, Lit Dev?
Okay, there's two big ones. Okay, I guess three, but two of the main ones that were about like just being a good person and everything, and the other parts besides the tournament and the tangle with the Targaryens was one where Egg and Dunk are just kind of like sitting on a hill and they're looking out onto all the tents, and then Egg is like, I could stay here, like basically saying I could stay here forever. That's where I really like to be. And then Dunk's like, but you are here. And then Egg is like, no, I mean later on, after I come back as a war hero, of course, and I'm getting some land by my lord, and I have a job, and I'm famous and well off. I've achieved all my victories, and I'll have the hand of the second most beautiful princess. And then Dunk is like, the second one.
Yeah, why not the first one? And his answer was,
and then Egg is like, well, because you were taking the first. I'm like, oh, I think that answer was so good. You could tell like the actor. Dunk's actor was like, I don't know what to say. Like such a heartfelt, heartwarming, wholesome moment.
Is it like I've been missing good characters? When I say good, not just well written, good characters, good people, right? That are celebrated and going through trials, but will succeed and stuff. And one of the things, like, because I know some of the overall arcs and Song of Ice and Fire, a lot of history is written and it's technically a prequel. It's in the past a bit, and so hey, we might have a special guest coming in. We might have a special guest. Let's see how this guy is going. All right, because he's popped in And I think it's because he wants to share something. Look at
Let's
this.
check it out.
Mike,
You talk about my show without me?
talking about your show, man. How are you going, dude? Holy crap. Like,
I'm getting better.
getting better.
This is my
Good.
staff. My green screen's down, so I don't want you to see my my closet. But
Now,
I use a staff instead of a cane because
because you lost use in like your entire right side, was it? Or
left side, thankfully, because I can
left side.
So-
Yeah.
draw. I'm getting better here.
Getting better, but
Yeah,
they're not there yet. It's taking time.
I can draw.
draw.
And also I don't have the stamina to sit at my desk for more than like 3 hours max before I.
Gosh, yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
another thing. It's like, I mean, everybody notices the left arm and the left leg, but you don't notice that your core also doesn't work. So, like,
and you don't see that.
Yeah, so your
Oh,
right side's
yeah.
totally overcompensating and you get really weak, and then you're like,
Holy dude. But man, like this happened right when your show dropped. And
the day. I'm like, I don't want to go to the hospital. My show is coming out tonight.
Oh, that sucks, man. Because
I know.
the show is great.
I know.
It's really good. Have you watched it, I assume?
Of course.
Yeah.
Course. Everything they've done that was from the books is freaking perfect. Almost
man.
perfect. Almost perfect.
Almost perfect.
And then they add a leg or two here or there, and it's you don't need to do that.
Yeah, look, there are some things that are totally unneeded, and I think they've lowered the show. Like I ignore them and I pretend they don't exist, and so because I enjoy so much of everything else.
You know what else was low? Penny Tree's dick.
That's
That was what we were referring to.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
but
the leg.
this is the typical thing. Dude, this is a perfect all ages practically. I mean,
could have been
10 and up, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's what the
kind
graphic
of story.
novel is.
Right. That's
is
the graphic novel. That's what the
kid-friendly.
novella is. Anybody can read those unless they get mad about horses getting killed by a poleaxe. And you know, like Ryan Cannell, apparently, whatever.
Well, you know what's funny though is that the Penny the Penny Tree,
Arlen
of Penny Tree, him having a gigantic dick, yet everyone kind of forgets about him, reframes the entire story because his big gigantic dick became a plot point. Because this means, now this is my theory, is that everyone actually does remember him, but
nobody.
they're all insecure. They're like, him? I don't know. Who is that guy?
And then remembering for some reason my wife really liked
Really like seeing him. I don't know.
No, actually, that you bring that up. That is something that I always thought about in the. I don't think about Arlen. I was thinking about like when he's going around and he's asking Sir Manfred and whatnot for, hey, do you remember? Can you vouch for me? Sort of thing. They're looking at this 7 foot tall monster and being like, I don't want you in the list. Sorry, buddy. Sorry, pal.
Yeah.
Look, if
that's what it is.
That is a great point.
It might be thinking that, is he Sir Arlen's son? If Sir Arlen had that big of a dick, how big is Duncan's dick? Like, I don't want this guy anywhere near this place.
But Mike, no, that is a great point. That like they know if they vouch for him, they could compete against him, and this guy is a giant,
right?
And they do factor that in. That is canonical already in the show. They do factor this kind of stuff in. That guy would like to. The guy in like the first episode, I think, wants to spar with random people so he could injure them. So they're weaker.
That's Stefan. Stefan is a piece of work. He's got a bigger role coming up later on.
Yeah,
he turns out to be more of a piece of work.
So many of their characters that we've been introduced to. That's good, laying the foundations for what's happening.
That's what I'm enjoying that they added. Right, like Sir Raymond Risling, like just showing up and meeting Egg. It's like,
yes,
that's good because in the book, we never meet him until he's part of the 7, right?
Yeah. And
did they skip the Battle of the Humphreys, or was that what the beginning boust in this last episode?
Oh, I'm trying to think. Like the jousting that they've shown passes by fairly quickly, except for the
Yeah. So in the final 7 spoilers, there's the 2 Humphreys from the Battle of the Humphreys that sign up with Dunk, right? The one is the one.
I think they did show it. I
was wondering because I saw
my memory.
Friday Night Tights and you guys didn't mention it, and I'm like, I think that was the opening joust, was the Battle of the Humphreys.
Yeah, or one of the others, but yeah, I think they might have from memory. What the thing that I've also been really enjoying is some of the stuff they are expanding with. Like there's more Lionel Baratheon scenes and
I enjoy that too. However, it removed the necessity of Dunk having to go around and ask people to vouch for him, because he could have just gone, Lionel, can you vouch for me? And he'd be like, oh hell yeah, brother.
Maybe like they could have had a scene to have Lionel say, well, I don't know, I like you. And maybe
no way, not Lionel.
Yeah,
Lionel would have looked at that guy as a challenge worth fighting.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. He would like to fight against Dunk because, and they kind of even show that in the dancing where Lionel is trying to like antagonize.
I love that guy. Unfortunately, I mean, if they cast this guy, he's 6'6". They should have cast a guy that was like 6'4" to go to be Lionel, just so they have, because Lionel's almost as big as Dunk.
Yeah, the laughing storm.
Huge. He's a tank. They should have cast Henry Cavill.
I don't know. Well,
except for this guy's got way more charisma. He's such a great.
This guy's charisma.
So
he does Lionel. So I'm willing to sacrifice the height.
Yeah,
the way he's portraying the character is so good.
It's funny. It's the same thing with Robert, right? The guy they cast for Robert, way too puny to be Robert, but such a great Robert.
Yeah.
They should have put him on lifts.
Yeah, just lift those heels a bit and get it and pad those shoulders underneath the outfit. I'd be willing to accept that. But man, that's been really enjoyable. And of course, this last episode, like Dunk and Egg are the standouts. They are perfect.
And that kid's acting, I didn't like it at the beginning, but by episode 3, I'm like, wow, this kid's hitting his stride. He's getting.
I mean, I went back and rewatched episode 1 and 2, and I was actually blown away from some of the things I was noticing in his acting. Like when he sneaks in towards the end of episode 1 and is at the fire, and Dunk kind of threatens him, like, if you don't do something or something, I'll beat you or something like that. Like Egg is looking at, and he kind of starts to shrink, and he's showing actual genuine fear and concern. And then Dunk softens and says, "But I can look after you." There are some subtle body language stuff that, as for a kid actor, has floored me. I'm like, whoa, like
genuine.
I don't qualify actor and kid actor. I have the same standard for everyone, but that's what I'm saying. By episode 3, I think he's really.
Dunk is like he kind of realizes he's gone too far. He's like, I can feed you, I can take care of you, and I only beat you if you deserve it.
Yeah. I was kind of astonished. I mean, because Peter Coffey's a freaking rugby player, and he comes in. He's a good actor,
really good actor.
Wow.
Where did he?
And he looks like my Dunk.
Oh, perfect! Like he's a perfect Dunk, man. It's shocking how well. He fits the role. So one of the things I adore what they've done with Egg is that they have still made him a boy. He is a young boy with a playfulness where he likes to play pretend. He has these romantic notions of wanting to be a knight someday, and he envisions it, and he sings to himself. And now that the reveal has happened, you know the context of so many things of why he is loving being with Dunk so much, where like and the show has done.
His brothers are all worthless pricks,
and it seems like
Darren is actually okay. This is the thing. Egg didn't shave his head. He just said that to be a jerk to his brother, right? Darren shaved his head. He's like, I'm not going to that bloody Ashford Tally. I don't want anyone to notice you. Darren's got brown hair. No one's going to notice he's a Targaryen. So he shaves Egg's head so that nobody sees that he's a freaking Targaryen.
Makes sense. It'd be hard to do it on your own, especially for like how old is Egg? 11? 12?
9.
9.
In the first
and so they've done so well in conveying Egg's background subtly through implication and everything. Like you said, everyone's called him a wimp. And so it seems like even as a royal, no one's really taken him seriously, expect him to amount for much. His fourth born son, going to be disregarded and thrown off. And yet at the same
son of the second born prince.
Yeah.
So he's like seventh in line of succession. And so 6 of his. And for spoilers, for those who noticed the little witch lady who gave her "You will be king," he will be king. That's
I think Aegon the Unlikely, something like that.
Aegon the Unlikely, because he was 7th in line of succession. And he's also, for those who watch Game of Thrones, Aemon. Remember in Master Aemon, who went to the wall? They mentioned that also in this episode, where the third brother is so useless they're sending him off to be a maester. And he ends up being the maester at the wall. And that's when we get the scene in Game of Thrones where he's like, Egg, I dreamed of something. And he was talking to Aegon.
Yep, his brother. And so the background that you can understand by context with Egg is that they've stopped him from doing the things that he really wants. He has these dreams of being a knight and he wants to, test himself. And at the same time, it seems like they've also forced him to do things, locked him away, where they've just probably sat him down and they're going to educate him and force him to do things that he doesn't want to do and restricted him from doing the things that he wants to do. And so running away and going off with Dunk is fulfilling some true desires of his heart, where he gets to be a part of some actual knightly kind of stuff, yet escape the mundanery of royal life and is discovering something more wholesome.
This just played into my mind real quick, the way you were describing that. It's very much the way America was populated. Because in Europe, if you weren't the firstborn son, you inherited jack squat, right? So a lot of people who were smart and ingenuitive, is that the right word? I know it's
we know what you're saying. Yeah.
If you were smart and you had the power and the gumption and maybe some money, you get the hell out of Europe because you could make your own way in America, right? Whereas otherwise you're going to end up being, oh yeah, that's the Duke of Schmirk, and he's like, he's basically just been a useless nothing his whole life because he's never going to inherit his father's castle, right?
Yeah, and so when Egg is saying like, I could stay here, or that's where it is with Egg. That was gorgeous scene where Egg is saying, this is what I kind of really want. Like, I don't like being a royal, and my
you are here.
You are here. That's what I have loved so far.
And he's so much smarter than Dunk. It's so funny.
Oh, but what? Yes,
where Dunk is like, he's like, it'd take a wiser man than me to figure it out. And Egg's like, well, I think this is what it means.
People used to call me stupid. And
not only that though, what I've loved is like Egg is smarter and more educated, but Dunk is more experienced and knows the nature of the world more. And so in that sense, even with Egg being so smart, he's still also naive and childish and childlike, and where Dunk is actually more experienced. And Dunk shows Egg how to just sew a patch and do basic looking after yourself maintenance kind of things. And so their dynamic in these two characters are just so good. It's really joy.
It's like the dynamic is book knowledge versus
street smarts,
common sense even.
Yeah, exactly. Because Dunk, he grew up in Flea Bottom, and so he's had to deal with all the rough, he
knows the price of eggs, if you know what I mean.
Exactly. And so the dynamic works really. And what I love, right? Egg, he's probably clued on that is more perceptive than old Dunk, but he doesn't look down on him. Egg looks up to Dunk and actually thinks that people should treat Dunk with more respect than people do. Like that scene in the first one is like, why do you treat these royal lapdogs like they're your betters? Because they are my betters. But Dunk actually thinks that, and because what Egg sees Dunk as an actual good person. He has realized that Dunk is a genuinely good person, and he has rarely found that. His brother is an asshole. He doesn't know his dad from spit because dad ignores him. And really the only person of value is probably
And,
The Hand of the King. What's his name again?
I thought you meant in his life.
Oh, it is, because I don't know how much interaction he has with his uncle.
Aemon is like because his brother he's got a relationship with Aemon, so the one that becomes a maester. Baelor Breakspear, yeah, Baelor
is a decent guy.
He's a great guy. He's the model,
great,
of the night.
top guy, right? But Egg doesn't seem to have much people like that in his life. Don't know how much interaction he has with Baelor, but he finds Dunk, and Dunk is a decent person, and Egg admires him for that and is attached to him and wants him, like, you can be a great knight, I believe. And Egg honestly believes he can be a great knight, and he wants to help him towards that. And oh man, the earnestness that Egg has in wanting to fulfill the duties of a squire for multiple reasons. His puny, people have probably never given him a chance at this at all. And he has kind of doubted himself. He's looked at his smaller hands, but the beginning of the episode 3, where he goes out to practice to try and be able to, learn how to do the job of a squire. I love that. It shows his earnestness and his desire to, again, we'll talk about the beginning thing about the classic story of the male hero is one that needs to overcome trials and improve and get better. And that exists so fundamentally with Egg and Dunk. And there's a reason why people are loving this show so much already. Right? Even in spite of some of the stupid things like a giant dong in your face, right? In spite of that, this is a wholesome, good story about good people and heroes that people have been starved for.
Yeah, and the kind of story that if you didn't have all that stuff in it, more people would watch it.
Yes.
You wouldn't lose a single viewer. Exactly. If you took all that stuff out.
I can't
wait to watch Sir Long Dong show up. Wasn't his thing.
It wasn't even. It was neat. It was needless, and it was annoying that it was in. And it feels like they put it in because it's Game of Thrones, and Game of Thrones is supposed to be explicit and edgy for some.
I was just saying that to JDA. Do you remember the skit on Saturday Night Live with the 13-year-olds whose
13-year-old boy
there were boobs in enough
boobs in everything?
I think that's real.
Yeah. Well, the thing is though, boobs and male attraction is problematic now, so now it has to be giant dongs.
Are there enough dongs per hour in this series?
Yeah, right. It's annoying.
Speaking of like heroes and everything, the other standout moment for me was Dunk, getting approached by this guy, the game master, and he's like, "Okay, well, we need you to not lose. We need you to win. We're gonna need you to win." And he's like, "Okay, there's the other guy's gonna challenge you. He's gonna take the fall. You're going to get everything you want." And this is an exact moment, and it's given to us in the exact way that it should have been. Because, as I always say, the main difference between a hero and a villain is that a villain is a hero who fails a temptation test, and this was Dunk's temptation test. Because all along for the first 3 episodes, what does he want? He not only wants to have armor. He wants to be a champion, right? He wants armor. He wants from the get-go. He wants money. He wants a place to live. He wants to win enough battles in the beginning to be hired by somebody, so he can have like a job and a future and everything. And here comes the game master at his most lowest point, Dunk's lowest point, where he's like nervous. He's been vomiting. He's so nervous about getting into the first battle, and then so worried about losing it. And then boom, if he loses his first battle, he's done. There's no coming back from that. He's bet everything on this tournament, and if this is his first battle, no one's going to hire him because he's worthless. Anyone could lose a tournament. But the thing is, here comes the game master with this offer, this everything Dunk wants: horse, armor, money, and a guarantee that he's going to win the first bout. And then Dunk goes, "I don't think I could do that. I can't accept a victory I didn't earn." And then he gets time to think about it. And then he passes the game master again, where he could say, "Okay, I changed my mind. Yes, I'll do it." But he doesn't.
Instead, he looks away in disgust.
Just so like this, it would be so easy to say yes, even for a guy like Dunk. And if you were just a guy who just wants to, get his priorities straight, where he's like, "I want money and fame and everything," it was just that guy, he would have said yes, and it would have been in character. But he's not just that guy. He's that guy who also is an honorable person and
he believes in honor. and it's such a rare thing in this world. And that's what makes it like this is a more traditional hero. Like this is what traditional heroes usually would always try to live up to, and it works really well because he has these flaws with his limitations, and he's not the most insightful guy. He's a bit slow on the uptake, but that is just adds to his endearment. I gotta give props to George. He wrote a very good character. Really good character.
I remember years ago there was someone on Twitter. I was like, and they were just talking about how George is incapable of writing a noble, heroic character. I'm like, you have not read The Hedge Knight.
Yeah, that's what he is. He's noble and heroic. I just remember, but Dunk being kind of like slowly uptake. I was like, I remember from the first episode where he's like, they talk about the princes being gone, and he's like, oh, I'm sure they won't be found dead.
That was such a great line.
I love this.
I was like, Dunk, just leave, Dunk. Just gotta get out of there. Just leave.
I love it. This like the humor in this show has been an unexpected delight. And Nathan Cassidy, yes, oi, you stop raping.
Right in this minute. So gentlemanly.
And like when he knocks his head the first time, and no joke, right? On my second watch, right? When he knocked his head the second time when he's leaving, and he's like, oh, Freddie gets frustrated. Like I laughed even on the second viewing. I knew it was coming, right? And I still laughed because the situational comedy was so pure, and just like his reaction was conveyed so well. It's just perfect. And so, yeah, the humor in this show has been a delight. I hope this show is the most. I would like to see this show be the most successful Game of Thrones thing made. I don't think it'll reach the heights of the first show because it built up so well. But out of the gate, people are really loving it. It deserves, the appreciation it's getting, and I think it's going to grow. This last episode, I think, has just locked people in now. People who did not know the twist that happened at the end. I've seen like one of the reactions. They were like,
and that is the break, right in the middle of the book. In the middle of the book, that's the end of issue 3 in the comic, isn't it?
Yeah, like it's the midpoint.
I feel like
even looking at
they are doing.
Yeah, look at this.
Doing the chapters along what the comic is.
Yeah, that's right in the middle.
Those pages.
By the way, that moment was hardcore because and for the first 3 episodes, Dunk has been respectful, noble. He wanted to be kind to people. He wanted to be respectful to all the nobility. As I said earlier, he keeps going, well, they are my betters. Like he respects the command and everything. And then this happens. Like it's suddenly humble, polite Dunk is running in there punching the prince.
I loved it. There, look at that. The original artwork. It's appearing.
This is the page where Egg's going, kill him. That's Dunk saying it's too low.
And then he skewers the horse.
And some of that original art you can get from Mike's website. Like, what a piece.
Yeah, I'm going to make it all available eventually, but only a little bit at a time because I don't have the bandwidth really. Here's Arlen fighting Baylor Breakspear. You can't see it.
I can't see it. It's just vanished.
Oops.
Yeah, it's vanished. It's appearing and disappearing.
Yeah. Sorry, my video thing sucks. But yeah, those are up. MikeSMillerArt.com. I have a few of them. If you have the books, you love the books, and you have a page you want to see, just message me. I'll look at. I have most of the book. See, you can't. This is most of the Hedge Knight. I have all of the Mystery Knight and almost all of the Sword too. So,
did you notice that there was a sale of Egg sitting on the horse?
I saw that.
You saw that?
I think everybody knows who bought it. Gary's like, I was just doing some shopping.
But there is the link to MikeSMillerArt.com, so you can grab your piece of legendary memorabilia. And the success of this show is just going to be pushing Night of the Seven Kingdoms, memorabilia and stuff.
Oh yeah, like everything, all the Hedge Knight books on eBay, they're selling like everything's selling green. So it's
awesome.
One thing about the third episode, I like that part where this Dunk is drinking with that other guy, and he's just spews out this tirade against the Targaryens.
Oh,
incestuous aliens.
Incestuous aliens. Duncan.
And Duncan, he's like just shocked. He has like no idea what to say. Like, whoa.
Yeah, I don't think that's what they were talking about in the book, right?
Probably like I don't
they
know.
Were talking about like who they were gonna pick. I don't remember.
I don't know.
I haven't read it in a while.
Other things like on rewatch, there like the storytelling in this show is actually really well done. There is some really good subtle things and narratives that are going on, and so the first episode, right? The addition of the scene with Lionel Baratheon, so good. Where Dunk is slouching, right, and is trying to go unnoticed, and then he gets called out by Lionel, and he says, "The gods granted you tallness, so be tall."
Yeah,
that is actually a really good line, because underlining that is telling Dunk to embrace his strength, embrace who you are. Be confident. And so when he returns to the camp, right, and Egg asks him his name, Sir Dunk, and is it short for Sir Duncan? I love that moment there, because Dunk is like
straight out of the book, straight out of the book.
And then Sir Duncan the what? And what you see, he's standing there and he's slouching, and he steps and he holds himself up, and he goes, "Sir Duncan the Tall," and that's when he chooses to embrace.
I have that page too.
Oh, do you?
So Duncan the Tall. Also, I don't think I heard you guys mentioning it, but the reason Sir Lionel is called the Laughing Storm is because when he's in these tourneys, generally these rich freaking houses, they put these goofy big ornaments on their heads, and he's the worst of them because he wears antlers, right? So the Laughing Storm, he's notorious for running around with his battle axe, whacking those ornaments off the top of his opponent's heads and laughing at him.
I can envision the page right now where he talks about the Laughing Storm.
Cuts off the swan.
Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, where he cuts off the swan crest of someone's helmet right there,
and just laughing the whole time. He's such a great character.
Oh, he's awesome.
And again, I mean, I know I said it, but such a great. The actor is just nailing the character.
He's so well. Good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what they did by adding in that interaction with Lionel in that episode, it bookends him choosing, Sir Duncan the Tall as his title perfectly, where he was just like talking about, Lionel, where he says, "Embrace it, you're tall, be tall," and then it's like that's the trigger moment where he chooses his title as a knight, so Duncan the Tall, and it has great underlying narrative meaning, and that's something that they added to the story, that interaction with Lionel, and it's great. It's a great little connection in it, and so there is some really good top tier subtle storytelling going on in this show that. It's water in a drought. We've been starved of such good storytelling like this.
I've been waiting for this for 25 years, bro. I drew that book in 2003. Wow, 23 years.
23 years.
I do not envy Martin though, because now he's bogged down with so much more now, because everyone's getting on his case about Winds of Winter. And also, he said he had to go ahead and write more House of the Dragon books. And now he also has to write more Hedge Knight books. So
somebody, I don't remember where it is, but I heard somebody say he's actually got 2 more of the Hedge Knight or the Duncan Egg stories written. And so I emailed him like, "Hey, can we get a head start on that before?" Because he usually wants it written in prose before I draw it. So
as much as this would piss off Ryan, I understand why George has made this, and if I was in his position, I would probably choose the same thing because he doesn't need a finish. It's a bit of a betrayal to the fans of the book series, and I get this, okay? And so it's not really. I'm not trying to excuse him, but in his mind, because the main show is finished, right? There's no like need for him to finish it, so the show has something to keep working on. Where the Hedge Knight is like one of that has potential to go on for ages,
right?
And
but
they're
here's
easier
the thing.
to write.
I'm actually shocked this happened because a few years ago, George explicitly said that he's not going to do the Hedge Knight because he doesn't want to get into the same situation he did with Game of Thrones because he's not done with the Dunk and Egg stories yet. Somewhere along the lines, they must have. I remember I talked to him about this. Because what George used to do, he's like he specifically wrote A Song of Ice and Fire to be something that they couldn't adapt, right?
Really?
Like no one could make this into a movie, right? And and so what he would do is he would sell a temporary option to like Paramount or somebody. They'd hire writers and they'd do all this stuff and they'd realize they can't make it into a movie. Then he'd get back and then he'd sell it to another studio. and then so I'm like, so what happened with HBO? He's like, well, they backed up a truck full of money to my house.
I swam in it for a while.
It was because of this how great Rome was. He's like, he loved Rome, the series Rome. And he's like, if you could do this as a series, it can be done. But obviously they didn't have the patience to finish it out properly.
I mean, it started really impressive.
Freaking so great, dude. It started so good. It started as good as this did. I mean, actually, it might have started better. The problem with, well, I don't want to go into Game of Thrones. So.
Oh. Well, it's interesting that he's willing to go into the same potential problem that he faced with Game of Thrones, and maybe it's because I don't know, he's already done it once, and so if it happens again, he still gets paid. But at the same time, with Hedge Knight stories being more novella length, they're easier to write. And so if there is any property that he has a chance to actually finish stories before the show needs them, the Hedge Knight stories are them. They're shorter, more contained.
He doesn't have to write 100 or 1,000-page book for a series.
And they're way easier because instead of like having to juggle 4 million characters, it's just Dunk
and Egg on an adventure
doing stuff.
And that's like, I think this is already starting to be more popular than House of the Dragon. House of the Dragon is good, but it had a troubled ending to that second season, which has put people a little on the fence. I still love House of the Dragon, and I'm still like on board to see season 3. But I like Hamilton Knight of the Seven Kings way more. There's just more endearing characters. Of course, it'll appeal to me more because they're good characters. Like at the end, House of the Dragon season 2, after Viserys dies, everyone's an asshole. It's a story of assholes doing assholey things to each other and ruining the kingdom. It's not really an uplifting story to really get you invested. Where with Dunk and Egg, you got endearing, lovable characters that you are hooked in completely. And so I love Knight of the Seven Kingdoms way more than House of the Dragon.
Me too. And let me answer Ryan in the chat. He says, do we think Dunk doinked Lady Weber in the Sworn Sword? This is the next series, so it's nobody knows who any of these people are unless you read the books. I don't think so at that point, but there is a speculation that Lady Weber ends up being, I think, Old Nan at Winterfell, and that Hodor is their child. Or
what?
Something.
How did she become a peasant? She's like a lady of a castle.
Old Nan's not a peasant. She just works. She's a late head because she's a tiny little woman, right?
I guess. Wow. That's a thought.
That's a theory.
That is a thought. Wow. So
that's why Hodor is his offspring. Brienne is his granddaughter. And I think there's one other that's supposed to be. I think there might be speculation about the Cleganes or something like that. There's George said he has multiple offspring that are in the Game of Thrones world that we know of.
Oh, okay. All
So look
right.
for giants.
look for really tall people. Yeah. Hodor, I guess he matches that. So, okay. That is interesting. But yeah, I everything kind of that I think that I've said about episode 3 ended on a banger. Loved it. And the episode is coming out early this week. So because of the Super Bowl. And I can't wait. Can't wait. Any other things you gentlemen wanted to share on Knights of the Seven Kingdoms? Oh, good. Well, if something comes up.
I just
Targaryens suck.
I wish this would be longer.
The Targaryens suck. I'm glad they were overthrown.
Yeah. But Egg is
Oh
brilliant.
yeah, the Tansel stuff. See, that's the butterflies you step on by changing things.
Yeah.
Because Tansel is supposed to be the puppeteer working with these little 2-foot tall puppets, right? So you mess up in your own story's continuity. You mess up because in the first time you see her, she's the narrator for this story. And then the second time they're like, oh crap, why are they gonna bust the fingers of the narrator? So they put her in the costume as the knight.
She's the knight now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which continuity wise doesn't work.
By the way, Egg might be awesome, but he also hates the Targaryens.
He does hate the Targaryens too. That's why he's awesome. He's a self-aware Targaryen.
He's a race traitor.
I don't like George, and George will keep that ending for what ultimately happens to Egg, and that sucks.
That's gonna
yeah.
Well,
I hope that there's like
all that info was redacted by the spilled ink. So
yes,
the speculation that Ryan was having that maybe they do. Was that you or Ryan?
That was me. I'm hoping that he actually snuck away with.
I wouldn't be shocked.
I
wouldn't be shocked if because it's redacted. It's like this is a good time to go. Live on the side of the hill.
Yeah, exactly. I genuinely hope my headcanon is that they fake their deaths to escape the craziness of.
Well, they would fake their deaths to escape the shame of killing everyone with his shenanigans trying to raise dragons. Right? They're not the only two people who died in the fire.
That's right.
Right? So, oh crap! I just killed.
But I wouldn't think that they would murder people to do that either. So that's what
Right. That's what I'm saying. They wouldn't murder. So what I could speculate is something went wrong with some wildfire. Killed a bunch of people he really loved and cared about. Couldn't face that shame,
and so went off into the sunset.
Let's go to Dorne.
Yeah. All righty, but let's grab these super chats and we'll start to wrap up. McSkittles, member for 9 months, says, so traditional relationships trigger them. No wonder they hate you. Yeah. 5 kids. Yeah.
Oh, did you talk about the Helen of Troy thing?
No, there's another thing we could. That's its own. Yeah. We will talk about the Odyssey coming up. Absolutely.
I saw someone make the argument that Greece is close to Africa, so this makes sense.
Helen of Troy is described as blonde hair, blonde curls, and dark blue eyes and fair skin.
It's pretty accurate. It's pretty accurate. Troy. She's supposed to look like.
We got $10 from here, blah blah. Say, Shad, love your book. I was hoping to discuss sword fighting in my own book because I would like it to be as real to life as possible. Well, good thing I have Shadiversity and all the videos I've ever made on the topic to help people understand sword fighting from a more historical lens. An interesting series called Fight Scene Autopsy might be able to help you out, sir. But yeah, make sword fighting great again. There's some examples of it done right, a lot of them done wrong. And best of luck. Best of luck. Sorry that we can't chat, but oh man, I've got lots of stuff. I'm very busy these days. But Nathan Cassidy for 499 says, I think the real issue people have with these tropes is they push is that they are done at the expense of everything else and done so maliciously. Yeah, maliciously I think is key. Like they have an agenda to subvert the family structure, traditional marriage, and anything that goes against it, they will support, it seems like. Nathan again for 19.99 says Archcast did a podcast with the author of Trailer Park Elves. I saw the thumbnail for that, showing the opposite of Morning Glory, where this is like that's like extreme female sexual fantasy. Trailer Park Elves is like, I'm guessing probably a harem type thing. He says, I recommend listening to it, but the big takeaway I got from it is men are a lot more romantic, even in their smut. I won't be promoting smut. I would say if you're interested in a
unless
book,
it's Sir Arlen.
not even that. That's
So Arlen the Long.
I'm not even going to try and pronounce that again. I'm just going to call you
Ernie. My less keeler.
$5 says, also, I want to buy my own sword. Do you have any advice? Reviews on Shadiversity, and one of the best bangs for your buck. I don't have it with me at the moment, but it's the Dragon Whisper from Romance of Men. 10 out of 10 sword. Phenomenal. If you go to my review of it, I have an affiliate link you can click on, and I get a kickback from it. Do you know how many swords I don't know why that video exploded. That video is almost at 150,000 views. My review of the Dragon Whisper longsword. Do you want to know how many swords I sold from that video?
150,000.
Not that much. Over 400 swords.
Nice.
That's pretty good.
That's a great turnaround.
That's amazing. And I don't go into sword reviews to sell swords. I go in to give an honest review, and if it's quality and you're interested, there's an affiliate link.
That's
but this happened to be
like 4 times what you normally get, right? Because usually isn't it like 1 out of 1,000 people?
So I don't know, the exact turnover, right? But this was a lot more. If I like some of the big ones I've had, but in the past were like Lord of the Rings swords. People interested. Again, the Glamdring, I think I ended up selling maybe close to 200. Didn't go in to sell it, but people just love Lord of the Rings. But if it's a good sword, I might sell maybe 20 to 50. But over 400 was nuts. I was like, okay. But it was our first 10 out of 10 sword. It deserved it, and it's genuinely top tier. I have it sitting right over there. So I have nothing against being a sword salesman, but I don't go into
swordmonger.
That's a great
blade monger.
Sword merchant me. But like I said, I don't go into sell swords. Like they're ones that I've trashed because they're awful that I've had.
Did you say you're not a sellsword?
Hey, I kind of am now. That's cool. Thank you for that super chat. Nathan Cassidy for 1.99 says, am I the only one who noticed her name is Amelia? Oh, really? The name of the character from Knight's Path, Amelia. Oh, yeah, she's Amelia. Hey! Because of the meme, the other Amelia meme. The British Amelia with the purple hair that backfired on the government. We covered it on a previous episode.
I was talking to Mark Huffman about turning that into a comic.
Hey, John Gets Gaming. He's become a member. Welcome. So thank you for the support. And John Gets Gaming for $10. Wow, dude, thank you. Says, Winry from Full Metal Alchemist is not a fighter. She isn't tough. She's a healer, and there's a great scene where she breaks down from holding a gun, and a male hero has to confront her. Never allowed today. Comfort her, sorry. Yeah, never allowed today. Yeah, I know. Women being more emotionally expressive than men and physically weaker. How dare that ever be? When that's reality. The modern agenda is against reality. That's why they hate traditional heroism, because traditional heroism is about men being the role of protector and provider and saving women, the damsel in distress, fundamental thing. And you know what I've got?
That reminds me, Lit Dev, I watched The Ballerina. That scene where
fantastic.
John Wick just slaps the snot out of her.
she wants to fight him, and if John Wick wanted to kill her, she would have died in like 2 seconds.
He could have killed her with his thumb.
He could have. Like, if he wanted to kill her, she would have died like 4 or 5 times in that
Right?
fight.
He's like, all right, you have till midnight.
And you have to midnight. Like, you killed my father. I know.
Well, you don't see it much, unfortunately, but there are some examples. And I tell you what, my next book that's close to completion. In my opinion, I have one of the most awesome damsel in distress scenes, like a full chapter devoted to one. And it's one of my favorite chapters. It's one of my favorite chapters.
Still, what happened when I wrote Tales of the Battlefield for Yellow Flash? It began with like the ninja lady saving the main character, but then it evolved into now he has to save her life. That's kind of what the main story's about. By the way, one of my favorite parts of the ballerina is when they go, "Sir, we have to escape. She's on the run." He goes, no leader of this village has ever abandoned this area before. Also, we lost for 2,000 years or whatever. Like, also, we lost track of John Wick. Okay, let's leave. Let's get out of here. move.
And last tribute sat from Taker 610, $5 is Shad. I discovered the slang word poofter recently.
Poofter.
From Australia. That's like been a common one. That was like a common one of my
great word.
Like the insult of calling someone a poofter.
Yeah, great.
It's a very Aussie word. But you can get in a lot of trouble calling someone that now in Australia. From another Aussie YouTuber. It's not slang we have here in the US. Okay. How rude would you say it is? Now, like, I have not heard it in common parlance for years. And so as a result, I think it would be more taboo and rude because it's just not as common. Like as a teenager, it was a common like thing to call people like, as you know, a name.
Yeah. It's very popular on Monty Python.
But hey, we've come to the end of another Culture Crusade. Mike, it's good to have you back, but dude, don't push yourself. All right. You're recovering. Everyone, you can help Mike out because
my bills don't pay themselves, so I gotta
though like hospital bills in the US, they're nasty, man.
They're not that one night when I had to go back, I was only there for one night, and they wanted to hit me with $29,000 just for the one night, and I'm like, you're kidding me? Because I went to the emergency room. The other one I went to the urgent care, so it was expensive, but it wasn't as expensive as that. It's like 29 grand. I'm like, you nuts. That's insane. They offered, because I don't have insurance, they offered me a cash discount, but I have to pay them within 30 days or it doesn't count. So it's like, that's just insane. For that one night, $7,500 cash discount, but I gotta pay them before. So
everyone, if you can help Mike out, that sucks. And it's a stroke. Like it's hard to kind of predict or account for those types of things. So anything that you can do that.
It's so random, dude. Because I was talking to the doctors, like you have all these different veins or arteries, right, going through in your brain, and it's kind of like pachinko. You ever play pachinko? It's like you put the ball at the top. There's a bunch of nails in it, and they just go ding, 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 and you hope it falls into the right slot. Well, if you've got a clot or whatever, the dead ends somewhere in your brain that doesn't affect your motor function, you don't even know. Maybe you lost third grade math or something, but you're not gimping around. And the doctor was saying, he's like, I've seen people that came here with their quote unquote first stroke, that they have all these dead zones in their brain where they've had previous strokes that didn't hit their motor function. And I'm like, so he's like, no, this was your first. Hey, winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah. Silver linings, Mike. Look wherever you can get it. Right? Yeah. Oh man, that's rough. But look, help out if you can. We appreciate you guys. And Mike, we hope you recover, dude. That's right.
I will recover. I have no doubt I will recover. I just don't want another one. Holy crap.
Yeah, holy crap.
Yeah, the bill almost gave me another one.
Yeah, dude. But hey, Lit Dev, what you going on, mate? Anything you want to mention?
For now, just the usual stuff. That's the Worry Nonsense around 9 a.m. Eastern every weekday. And on the weekends, I've been EFAPing some movies or TV shows. I just finished all of Ruby. And then now Ruby DC crossovers. Went over a few other things. Fullmetal Alchemist is one thing I'm also going over. So yeah, check this out on my Twitch. Been a lot of fun over there.
Awesome. And hey, I just saw take a 610. One last one. Can't say the whole thing. He says, would one use it? Like, stop complaining about heterosexual relations in media. You
Poofed us.
That is a word. That is a correct use of the word. I do believe. Yes. And for me, I guess, hey, if anyone is interested in any measure at my new YouTube channel, The Latter Day Knight, where I talk about LDS doctrine, go check that out. I'll be making content on there. And appreciate you all. We will see you next time. And as always, stay on watch. But I'm not ready. Now I'm ready. No, I'm not. Ready?
Stay on watch.
Stay on watch. We're almost there. Almost there. Now.
Stay.